play action boots, moving the pocket, getting Bryce outside like that, and it just seems like, oh, we all just do rollouts and dump offs. That's why it seems like that. And it's a system thing to try to mask the deficiencies of the O-line. But man, it just feels like from one play to another, everything's not always working great. If there's a good route, the offensive line's not holding up. If the offensive line holds up, we get a good throw, the receiver drops the ball. If the receiver gets open, the O-line holds up, the quarterback turns it down and doesn't take the shot. There's just something as a unit that's just not pushing forward. There is some youth on the outside as well. Let's just be clear. There's some youth on the outside as well. We got a first year wide receiver who is our wide receiver 1. We got a wide receiver 2, Jaylen Coker, that's in his second year, undrafted free agent, missed some games this year. And then we got Xavier Legette, a wide receiver 3, that's in his second year. Has been spotty in production at best. But like, you're right. There shouldn't, our offensive line, our passing game should be better. I definitely feel like anything over 3rd and 10 is like a mountain. But I think it's a group effort. We're going to look at some plays too, and I'll show you. But a lot of it's execution from all phases, and then just Dave being a little bit awkward with the play calling. We're going to look at it. Appreciate the super chat. Make sure y'all get the video a thumbs up, please, if you have not. We rocking, we rolling. Let me send out this link, man. Y'all make sure y'all, like I said, make sure y'all subscribe. Right now on the channel for this week's After Further Review, breaking down the tape from the Panthers L to New Orleans. All right, guess not the promo. Sorry. All right, Jarrell Mason, appreciate you on the super chat. Yeah, I think that's working. Play calling down the stretch can't be conservative, and attention to detail on both sides of the ball will be key. Excuse me. Agreed. And I think Dave is aggressive in the point that, like, he's going for it on 4th down. He's going for it on 4th down. No ifs, ands, or buts, dog. No ifs, ands, or buts. But, like, it's just a matter of, like, the sequencing of play calling. What is setting up this? What is setting up that? Can we get the run game going? Finally. The run game has been, like, poo for a little minute, dog. We're going to talk about that, too. But, dog, it's been poo. Hasn't been explosive. Haven't getting chunk runs. Haven't really been getting to the second level like we normally do. I was hoping that Robert Hunt would be back this week. But he ain't. Hall JW91, appreciate you on the super chat. Said Evero called the worst game of the season, big dog. Bro, I'm going to be honest with you. It wasn't much different than any other game. The turnovers just didn't go our way. And I don't want to spoil what I got to say, so I'm going to keep it brief. But we're going to show you exactly what went wrong on defense. But please, if you have not, give the video a thumbs up. I keep asking, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Again, if you want to support, consider becoming a member. You get the full film breakdown for this. Said Chuba is more effective with poor blocking and better pass blocker. I agree, because he just gets downhill. Yeah. So, okay. And other thing, Ikem is injured. So he popped up on the injury report as questionable. He's day-to-day with a knee injury. It was very, very not refreshing. That's not the word I want to use. It was enlightening, I'll say that, to hear that Icky had a knee injury, because that was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from Icky. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you, man. That was one of the worst performances I've seen by Icky since he's been here. But like, knowing that he got hurt early in the game makes a ton of sense. I want to look at the flag. I want to look at where his injury happened really, really quick. And we'll look at it right here together. I have the play. So Icky is right here. Let's run that back. Icky is right here, of course. Watch his leg kind of get twisted on. I can't tell if it happened. This is the play before Rico's rushing touchdown. I can't tell if it happened here or the next play. We'll look at both. But watch Icky, and then watch him kind of hop on one leg after it happens. It looked like Curran kind of rolled up on him. It looked like Curran kind of rolled up on him. See his leg kind of kick Icky up in the midsection as well. But it looks like he kind of landed on there, and Icky's knee got stuck in the ground somehow. But you can see Icky start to hop on one leg, on one little quick limp. And it was just weird. So let's look at the next one. This is the touchdown. Watch Icky. He gets smoked. His knee just buckles. Your team scores the opening drive touchdown like that, and you're not celebrating. It's got to be because you're hurt. Now watch it. Look, the guy beat him inside and he couldn't move. He tried to power through. I think his knee just buckled. He didn't realize that it was so weak, but he took that step. He tried to plant it, and it just went. Look at that right leg. Look at that right leg by Icky. And it just went down. This guy split it. He's on his knees now. And then he's rolled up on just a little bit, not much there. But he's getting up slow. And so after that, he just wasn't the same, bro. He was getting down blocks. He couldn't plant his leg. And then pass protection, he was suspect. The bull rush on that drive, the final drive we had the ball, getting bull rush. The knee is trash. If this is going to be the condition that he plays with, we might have to start Yash Neisman. He wants to power through it, obviously. He wants to play through it. When I see Icky struggling in the run blocking scenarios, that's when I know something's wrong. Pass pro, he get beat. Speed beats him multiple times. But getting beat with bull rushes and power, nah, that ain't Icky. Because Icky he's no small dude. And so that let me know that something was wrong with him. And so again, it makes sense. At least we know, but it's tough. And it's not ideal for the scenario coming up right now. And this is the first quarter. Again, this was the opening drive where Rico scored. And you see Icky's knee giving out on him. And so now he's day-to-day. The MRI said Coach Canales said that the MRI didn't really give them a full diagnosis. And so they're just trying it out. I'm like, okay, what do you mean you don't know? What you mean you don't know what the knee injury was? Obviously, Icky wasn't forthcoming. I'm thinking it's his right knee. He didn't even disclose that. So it's a lot of weird stuff going on right now with that, unfortunately. But something to definitely monitor and something to definitely be concerned about if he can't play. Biggest game of the year. We need all hands on deck. We came out of the bye so healthy. But then we got 1,000,001 guys had rest days today on Wednesday. You know. Shout out to Jarrell Mason on the super chat. Said the Variables got to do something about that butter soft zone coverage, because if not, then Baker and the wide receivers are going to be doing the Birdman hand rub all day. We gotta get a pass rush. We got to get a pass rush. We just want to limit big plays because we don't have a pass rush. So if you give somebody all day, they're going to carve you up. So I understand what you're trying to. We have a lot of issues on defense. I'm not going to lie. We'll talk about it. But we just don't have the answers to the test, unfortunately. We don't have the answers to the test. We don't. Shout out to Deagle on the super chat. Saying I felt the same about seeing that injury. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, man. O-line looked bad. Dude, run game, pass pro. Moton was getting smoked. Corbett was getting worked. Mays was getting worked. It was bad, bro. It was bad, dog. Like, Damian Lewis was the highest graded O-lineman. But Moton gave up 3 pressures. Icky gave up 5 and a sack. Corbett gave up a pressure. Mays gave up a pressure. It's just our O-line feel like, our run game feels like it's been figured out. They might have figured it out. I don't know. Shout out to I Am Tez on the super chat. So I feel like we do get a new DC move back to 4-3. I have no problem with the system. It don't matter what we do. We just got to get better players. I hate to break it to you, man. We don't got no good players, bro. Our pass rush sucks. Our linebackers are probably the worst in the league. We need a nickel. Our base defense can't be nickel if we don't have a sound nickel. I'm going to tell you how bad we need a nickel. Because, again, I've heard from good sources and just tracking what was being reported during the draft process. Mike Sandra-Steele, a couple years ago out of Michigan, was high on our radar in that second round. We ended up moving and grooving. He ended up going off the board. Obviously, we ended up with Xavier Legette and Jonathan Brooks. But Edgerrin Cooper and Mike Sandra-Steele were high targets. A nickelback and an inside linebacker that knows how to rush. Remember we saw on the blueprint this offseason, they were looking at Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy, if he hit the market, obviously he didn't hit the market. Minnesota ended up retaining him. Byron Murphy plays nickel. Byron Murphy plays nickel. Nickel is important in this league, bro. We run a base 3-4, but we're in nickel all the time. We only run base like 30% of the time. We're in nickel more than anything. And then we do some funky things with our fronts. Fine. But you need a quality nickel. Sean Smith-Wade ain't that, bro. They've tried to move him to nickel. He was an outside corner in college. Is undersized. He played a little nickel at the Senior Bowl. They tried to make him one. He's not a nickel. He's not a playmaker. It's tough. It's tough. But like we need better linebackers. We need established pass rush. I'm cool on the youth movement on pass rush. We need to get vets. We need some established vets that are going to be able to get home. I ain't talking about no old heads either. Go get an established vet to rush the passer. One of the worst pass rushes in the league. Our linebackers they can't cover anything. They haven't made a play beyond 7 yards in coverage all season. If it's not in front of them, like a check down, they're not going to be able to make a play on the ball. Anything behind them, automatic. Our secondary play is far off. Our linebackers play too shallow. There's a good 10 to 15-yard window behind the linebackers in front of our secondary that teams just feast on. The Saints did it all day. They did it all day. We need a rangy linebacker that can cover, but we also need guys that can actually get home and blitz. Our guys can't do any either. They don't blitz well. They don't cover well. It's nasty. It's nasty. And you can say I'm defending Ejiro Evero, but it don't matter who you put at DC. We need better players. We need better players. I like the pieces we have in our secondary outside of Shaw. Nick ain't terrible. Mulry is a dog. JC's one of the better cornerbacks in the league. He's taking his lumps in certain matchups. Mike Jack has been playing pretty solid for the type of guy that he is. I'm okay with the secondary. We need a nickel. We need a nickel, and we need pass rush and linebackers. It's obvious. But I'm cool with the 3-4, bro. Plenty of teams run it. Shoot, the Saints run it. They just have a nickel. They have depth at corner and nickel. Alontae Taylor is a good nickel. You can do a lot of things when you have a good nickel. The Saints run that 3-4. Pretty solid defense. The Giro Evero system. Fangio system. Vic Fangio with the Eagles. He runs it. And I'm fine with drafting a linebacker, but we need to pay a pass rusher. I'm tired. I'm not tired, but this is not the draft class to get an established pass rusher. We got to draft one. Y'all please give the video a thumbs up if you have not. Let's get to these slides, man. Because I don't want to be here all night. I don't. I love y'all, but I got stuff to do. Excuse me. All right, offensive performance. Run game struggles. I talked about it. Bryce Young moved the chains a lot with his legs. That was a huge part of it. But Bryce Young cannot be our leading rusher. He's not Cam Newton. When there's Cam Newton doing it, that's okay. But if Bryce Young is our leading rusher, there is a problem. There is a problem. 49 yards rushing for Bryce Young. 49 yards rushing for Rico Dowdle. 29 yards rushing for Chuba Hubbard. All averaging both running backs averaging less than 4 yards per carry. Barely over 1 yard before contact. Rico Dowdle has been stuffed on 13.4% of his runs at or behind the line of scrimmage. Chuba Hubbard, 10%. Chuba has been much more efficient. He's been much more efficient lately. When our O-line is not playing well, it seems like Chuba can cover up a lot of those issues because he just gets downhill. He doesn't waste time. He's going to find a little crevice and try to get through as best as possible. When it's blocked up good and there's lanes, Rico's has a lot better contact balance. He's breaking off these longer runs. They have different styles. When everything's being blocked great, again, Rico is that guy. But if it ain't pretty, it's muddy in there. You need to grind out some yards. That's a Chuba Hubbard type of assignment. But the run game has been struggling for weeks now. We don't get explosive runs. We had one run, non-Bryce run, that was at least 10 yards. Yeah, Chuba has looked a lot more explosive. You saw him last week break one against the Rams, that third down where he reversed the field. That was crazy. This is the NFL. Guys don't reverse the field like that in the NFL. Chuba reversed the field. It just feels like opponents have figured out our run game. But I don't know. But Rico hasn't had above 4 yards per carry in weeks. We got to figure something out. I thought we would be going to the lab during the bye week trying to figure out this run game, but we haven't really pulled out any kind of new tricks. Jason, what up, though? But the run game struggles are very, very alarming, especially for a team that wants to be able to hang their hat on it. It's not great. Offensive line regression. this has been the biggest alarming fact for me. Obviously, the injuries have demoralized us. But I feel like we're going to have potentially another combination this week if Yash plays. But I think the absence of Robert Hunt is being felt. Our linemen don't get to the second level no more and clear out lanes. To get explosive runs, you got to get guys to the second level, getting linebackers moved. Getting these combo blocks and double teams, getting guys moved off the spot and letting the other guys get to the second level. That way the running back can get to daylight. If you can get the running back to the second level, the rest of it is on him. But we just haven't been able to do that consistently. And I honestly think the offensive line struggles in the run and the pass have been an issue. Bryce Young was pressured on 58.1% of his dropbacks, according to PFF. I kid you not. I'm looking at PFF. It said Bryce Young was under pressure on 58.1% of his dropbacks. Compare that to Tyler Shuck, who was sacked 5 times. He was only under pressure 27.5% of the time. That's why sacks don't tell everything. Sacks do not tell everything. Bryce was pressured on 58% of his dropbacks, but was only sacked once. It's crazy. But then again, Shuck sacked 5 times, but was only pressured 27.5. Sacks aren't everything. They matter. I'll say that because I think the math on like how much of a drive killer a sack actually is crazy. The numbers are like highly favorable, but affecting the quarterback can sometimes be a lot more important. If you're affecting him, getting pressure, he's feeling you there. And I think it has had residual effects for us. But 58.1% pressure rate is nuts. It's nuts. And Bryce Young does a good job avoiding sacks, but it's just not a way to be able to function as an offense. It ain't just the interior. Again, I told you Icky gave up 5 pressures. Moton gave up 3. It's a lot, man. And I want to just chalk it up to the injuries. And again, I want to chalk it up to Rob Hunt being back. But yeah, I definitely feel like you should draft O-line every season, in my opinion. Like day 2, early day 3, just take a flyer on one and let them develop. They're gonna have to play at some point. Everybody gets hurt. Cause like Cade Mays was a 6th-round pick. we took him as a 6th-round pick. But look, he's eventually developed into a guy that contributes for us, and now he's our starting center. We took him as a 6th-round pick. He's just developed and played. He played all over. He's played both guards. He's played center. He can play tackle. He did it in college. You got to just start taking these guys and let them marinate on the sideline. Yeah, Jason's saying we need to take a later pick on the O-line in the draft. I thought we should have took one on day 2 and maybe the 3rd round. The hit rate on day 2 O-lineman, like, again, PFF did some kind of study on it. The hit rate on day 2 O-lineman compared to any like later draft picks is like night and day. I think it's like a 65 or 75% success rate that they start a bunch of games for you and end up playing if you take them on day 2 compared to like 20-something% if you take them on day 3. You got to just take one every year just to have them. You know what I'm saying? So I just think there's something about keeping the strength of strength. I understood what they was doing, trying to run it back, but like I personally would have tried to I would have drafted Moton's replacement personally. I would have drafted his replacement personally. But that's neither here nor there. And then the self-inflicted issues, man. This is the frustrating part about it. Whether it's the coach, and somebody said in the chat about him being too conservative because he ran the ball a lot. We have a very high tendency to run the ball on first down. Fine. Things like 50-some%. But like, that's our offense. Apparently, is run. Hopefully, third down is manageable. Run again to get it manageable. And then go for it on fourth when it's 4th and 2 or 4th and 1. You know what I mean? Sometimes we'll try for an explosive here and there. But a lot of times we just try to stay ahead of the sticks as best as possible. Getting 3 yards here, 3 yards. It's literally 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That's our offense. And then when we get to that high red area, which is like the 25, the 30 or inside, like that's when we'll try to take shots. That's when we try to take shots. Notice that when we hit XL on that go route against the Falcons, that was there. When we hit T-Mac against the Rams, when we hit Coker against the Rams, when we hit Coker this week, it's that high red area in between the 30 and the 20. That's when we try to take our shots. That's all it is, because the field is not that long when you get these good returns. You're getting returns to the 30, 35. We average 6 plays per drive because we just don't go 3 and out for some reason, because we stay on schedule a lot of times with the run game. And we go for it on 4th down. That's what we do. We move the ball just inside, whatever, across the 50 to get close to field goal range. Once we get to that high red area, we're taking shots. But we're still going to run the ball, try to control the clock. That's just what it is. But we just have an ugly style. But I know there are questions about what's going on, so we're going to look at the tape. Let's go ahead and get into it. Make sure you guys get a video thumbs up if you have not. We're about to check out some offensive miscues. All right, guys. If you're squeamish, don't look. Because this is nasty like pork rinds. All right. This was, I don't know. It's bad, bro. It's bad. It's just, I don't get it. That's not illegal. He was set to me. I thought he was set. No, we haven't had a good return without a flag. We haven't. All right, so about Bryce's performance. Bryce Young, 15 for 24, 163, 1 touchdown. Again, not great numbers. We only ran 53 plays, though. We passed 24 times out of 53 plays. When you don't get off the field as a defense, your offense is not going to have that many plays. We had pretty sustainable drives. Again, we only had 1 3 and out. We did have a turnover on downs, but our time of possession, we only were outpossessed by 3 minutes. We had a 7-minute drive. We had a 2-minute and 51-minute drive. We had a 3-minute drive for a field goal. We had a 5-minute drive for a touchdown. We had a 5-minute and 47-second possession that turned over on downs. We had that 1 3 and out, but even that took 2 minutes. And then we punted. That took a minute and a half. And that was it. We lost the game. But it's not like we only ran 53 plays. We just, I don't know. We just didn't run a lot of plays in general, so there wasn't going to be a ton of yards to go around. There's not a lot of targets, of course, either, throwing for only 24 times a game. But Bryce played clean. He played efficient. I showed you that one turn down to Coker, the ball to T-Mac. I would like to see a little bit better there, but I thought he made chicken salad out of chicken doo-doo sometimes with the O-line blocking the way it was. It was clean. It was clean. It wasn't the Rams' performance, of course, but it was clean. Again, you can see this. He's on passes over 10 yards. Young finished 5 for 8 for 126 yards, including a 32-yard touchdown. He also completed all 4 of his attempts against the blitz. They didn't blitz much. They just got after him before and played coverage. He had 49 yards running, getting 3 touchdowns. I thought his legs were the difference. So over 200 total yards. It seemed like we didn't get enough opportunities to sling the ball around. I honestly understand we want to stay balanced and run the ball and try to, but our run game is not crazy. We don't need to abandon the run, but you kind of would like to see him turn Bryce loose a little bit. I understand the concerns about the O-line, but like, you kind of want to see in games where Bryce is actually under control, you want to see him turn it loose a little bit. A lot of short passes. He was efficient in the short passing game. But like, you just want to see more. Want to see more. Want to get that playbook opened up a little bit with Coker coming on. T-Mac getting a bunch of attention. T-Mac only had what, 2 targets? Couple targets? 3 targets? I apologize, 4 targets. Coker had 4. XL had 3. T-Mac had 4. Trimble had 4. This is not a lot of targets for anybody. T-Mac needs to get about 8 targets, 8 to 10. Coker needs at least 6. But Bryce, I thought he did a good job of just managing the game, not putting us behind the sticks with losses. He took off and was aggressive with his legs when he needed to. He looked a lot more comfortable this time around against the Saints than he did last time. And I don't know if that was because we switched up the game plan and tried to run the ball to force them to get out of that stuff that they tried to run last time against us with the safeties lurking close to the line of scrimmage. I don't know. But again, he was solid. Solid performance. I don't know why we need more yak. What I've learned watching these games and watching the Atlanta game, the difference between having gaudy numbers and not is yards after catch. Notice how when Tommy Trimble's getting all those yards, when T-Mac's getting big plays after the catch, and we get dump offs out of the backfield that are gaining yards. It boosted Bryce's stats. That's how he got 400 something yards. We need to figure out a way to get guys getting the ball on the move, getting guys in stride, letting guys get yak to take some of the pressure. Feels like everything is difficult for us in the pass game because we don't get explosive plays. We don't get too many chunks. 2 completions over 20 yards. In the intermediate, we had 3. We got to figure out ways to get guys getting the ball on the move so they can catch the ball and do something with it. You know? But it's just, something's missing, man. Obviously, the run game has to get better, but something's just missing with our offense overall. It's tough. All right, standout player of the week, Jaylen Coker, man. No ifs, ands, or buts. 4 targets, 4 receptions, 60 yards, 1 touchdown. Dude was a dog on Sunday. I'm excited to see him continue to get more opportunities. Again, I showed you that one time that he was open, that Bryce even turned it down. He could have added another touchdown to his production, but he just looks nice. I think that him getting that slot work with T-Mac getting a lot of attention on the backside is allowing Coker to have more room to operate. He's such a great route runner. He understands spacing. He's stepping on guys' toes. And so it's just, I love what he's been able to do. And it sounds like they want to keep feeding him. They want to keep featuring him. He looked nice. He looked nice, man. I want to get into the tape for Jaylen Coker to show just exactly how he's getting it done and how the usage of him looks a little bit different as well. Let's go ahead and do it. 2. And their chemistry, man, has always been something that I've thought has been It's just something I expected more of early on. And unfortunately, I'm at the point now that if Coker had never got hurt, we probably wouldn't be in this position. I'm thinking we beat the Cardinals if we had him. I'm thinking that we beat the Jaguars, because I'm thinking about that little wheel route that Bryce kind of threw high, that Hunter Renfrow went up for, but he couldn't hold on to it. Remember that wheel route against the Jags? I'm thinking if Coker's there, we may be able to make some of them plays and we may end up winning a few of those games, 1 or 2. And things just changed. Remember, we had no receivers outside of T-Mac. Everybody got hurt. During the Patriots game, we had nobody, and they were like double teaming him like Megatron. If Coker was there, things may be a little different. You know? So having Jaylen Coker continue to build on what he's been doing, working from the slot, but also working from the outside. That touchdown against the Rams, he was the outside receiver. This touchdown against the Saints, outside receiver. But you also saw that back shoulder fade from the slot. I showed you the play over the top that he could have got in the red zone. That was in the slot too. Taking advantage of the advantageous matchups, because T-Mac is getting that number 1 corner. And not too many teams in the league have 2 decent corners. And Jaylen Coker is very, very crafty. He's big. He's underrated in terms of the speed department, and the hands are phenomenal. Loving what I'm seeing from the Colt boys, man. We up. Shout out to the Colt boys and the Coke heads out there, man, on a great, great run right now. Great, great run right now. Again, the biggest issue for me on offense is, again, the lack of run production, man. We got to figure something out. I don't know. We got to get some explosive plays and runs to really build some momentum. But until we start gashing teams like we were doing before, there's the Cowboys and the Dolphins and all that stuff. Those days just feel so long ago. Rico's been on a cold streak. He's been getting the touches, but he's been on a cold streak. Chuba's had his spots, but still, the running game overall just bad. It's bad. O-line got to be better and got to step up. Got to step up. I told you guys that stat about Rico's stuff percentage being 13.4. Getting stuffed at or behind the line of scrimmage. Chuba, 10%. At least that was going into this week. I don't know what it is now. Probably went down after this game. But we'll see. All right, man. I'm not going to spend too much time talking. We're going to get to the film quick for this. Defensive performance. First things first, they can't get off the field. Giving up 6 for 11 on third down. Then you're giving them 6 flags that resulted in first downs. And then you got 5 sacks, but you can't get pressure when you need it. Third and long, too many third and longs where he had time to throw, and you're finding guys on crossing routes. This defense is just, they have to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that arise when they have them to get off the field. They're getting some negative plays every so often, whether it's in the run game, getting some negative plays on the stops. At least this week that was the case. They got some penalties a few times that got the ops behind the sticks. But they just haven't been able to capitalize. They haven't been able to capitalize. Actually, let me real quick go back to this super chat. Appreciate it. Sorry about that. Chicken Wang, shout out to you, bro, on the super chat. Said, thanks for bringing the midweek analysis, bringing the tough love. Hey, man. We got to look at the tape. I was pissed off after my stream after the game. But the tape it was even worse to watch. But digesting what happened, being able to put my finger on exactly what happens makes me feel a little bit better about it, because it lets me know this stuff is all self-inflicted stuff. It's one thing if we're just getting dominated or put to in certain spots. I think the offensive line, that's the case. But everywhere else that we're pointing out, man, a lot of this stuff is self-inflicted. It is. It's self-inflicted. And it can't be corrected because it's self-inflicted. It's happened in a lot of games where stuff has been self-inflicted issues. Shout out to JR Boolin on the Super Chat. Said, going to my first Panthers game in 15 years Sunday. Coach Canales said the fans to get loud, so best believe I'm going to be going bananas at the bank. Hashtag keep pounding. Keep pounding. He said he going banana, going crazy. Better go ham, turkey, all the above there, bro. We need that crowd. It was a big factor against the Rams, man. They said it. That delay of game they got before the Derrick Brown sack. I was watching them highlights before this game coming up, hearing that crowd pop after we got that sack fumble almost brought tears to my eyes, man. It did bring tears to my eyes. Nothing fell, but it brought tears to my eyes. We need that crowd, man. 2 home games left. Biggest game of the year. We were in the all black. We got the black end zones. We got the blue eyes on the wall, man. The vibes are immaculate. We have to show up and be loud. Need y'all to show up and be loud, man. Shout out to you for going to the game, though, man. That's dope. That's dope. Be safe, man, and enjoy yourself for sure. Be safe and enjoy yourself. Jason Bishop, what up, though? Said, when are we going to get consistency? That's the tough part, man. When you got a young team, consistency can escape you sometimes. It can. But yeah, again, can't get off the field. 6 for 11 on third. Not pressuring when you need to in the obvious pass scenarios. And then 6 flags. Not over Georgia, but 6 flags, not the fun part, that resulted in first downs. That's nasty. You're giving them first downs. They had 27 of them, but you gave them 6 just for free. For free. The secondary is out of whack. Man, that final 2 drives where they just kept running the same play. They ran a Chris Olave crossing route left, Chris Olave crossing route right, Chris Olave comeback route on the outside, Chris Olave crossing route left, Chris Olave crossing route right. Bro, it was like, and they admitted it. They said they called us in no huddle, and so we kept running the same coverage, and they kept running the same play. I don't know if you're supposed to take a timeout there to stop the bleeding, or do you just let it burn because you hopefully clock just kind of runs out for them, or they make a mistake. But they didn't make a mistake. They kept running the same play, kept completing them, and kept moving the ball down the field. The secondary, just miscommunications. Again, Roseboom, Shaw Smith-Wade, underneath coverages, just not communicating, linebackers not getting depth. You got nobody wide receivers making plays on our corners that have been very, very good for the most part overall this year. Just uncharacteristic. Yeah, the defense is allowed to call timeout, but like in that scenario when it's like 40-something seconds left, they're hoping that time is not on their side. Right? That's what they're hoping. That time just runs out. And it almost did. They almost did. They almost ran out of clock. If that was very risky by them, and you could tell they just wanted to, they were hoping to draw a flag, it seemed like. But Ransom, with a late hit, it was a free timeout for them and gave them 15 yards. It would have been like a 60-something yarder, and I'm not even sure if they get it off. I'm not sure if they even get it off. If Ransom just lays on top of him and gets up slow, not slow enough to delay a game, but just tackles him wraps him up, tries to take the ball from him, like jostle for the ball to act like you're going for the strip. And see what happens. But, man, the secondary, man, tough. But the sack production was there. 5 sacks. We didn't get many pressures, which is crazy. Our pressure to sack ratio was 45%. Nuts. We got 3 sacks when blitzing. I mean, it 5 sacks out of nowhere. It's kind of nuts. But again, we only pressured him on 27.5% of his dropbacks. It's slightly below league average. But the sack production showed up. I can't deny that. The box score got filled up in that standpoint. But to me, man, I'm going to get my thoughts before we get into the tape, because I'm going to show the missed opportunities. But I think that, and I don't want to be like I'm defending Evero, but I think that he catches a lot of flack. I have my issues with the way he calls some of his defense. But I understand the philosophy. I understand that our defense doesn't have great players overall in key positions. I understand there's a lot of things we aren't good at. I understand he has a role in some of that. But again, we can't rush the passer with 4. But we can't blitz and get home either, because if you do that, we're not good at blitzing. And so if you blitz, there's less guys in coverage and they're going to pick us apart. Y'all know that. And so you can't really pressure the quarterback anyway. So what he does is just rush 4 most of the time. He doesn't blitz as much as he probably would like to, because we're not good at it. There's no point in blitzing if they're not getting home. You're just making their secondary vulnerable. So he doesn't blitz that often and rushes with 4, so we don't get time. Our secondary has to cover for a while, which is tough. It's tough. So this philosophy is to play off. Why do you play off? The key is that, hey, you play faster coming forward, running in a straight line, running forward, than you do backpedaling or running backwards or with your back to the football, right? That's the philosophy. Think about it. Do you run faster running forward or backpedaling? Clearly going forward is the normal way to move. And so having everything in front of you, being able to react, being able to play downhill on everything because you're over the top is why they like to play off. Also, they don't want to get beat over the top because they don't want to give up explosive plays. Make them run more plays. The more plays you make them run, the more opportunity they have to throw a bad pass or have a fumble snap or for you to get a holding call or for you to get a sack that throws off their drive or to get a tackle for loss or they have an overthrow and you pick it off. That's why you try to make them run as many plays as possible to get down the field. You bend but don't break. Because eventually, the more opportunities they have with the ball in hand, you're swiping at the ball, you're punching at it, you're still trying to make plays, but you live to fight another down. That gives you a chance to create turnovers. That's why they do that. Recently, we've been better against the run, but we're still not great at stopping the run. They've been getting DB double teamed a lot, getting him moved off the spot. Our run defense started off fairly solid early on in the year, but after that Bills game, it feels like it's been downhill. We have our moments where we play great, like against the Packers. We were pretty solid. But overall, our run game is kind of taking some steps back down the stretch. But you try to stop the run with light boxes. You try to go heavy D-line, stop the run there. That way you can allocate more guys to coverage. Our linebackers are just not good, man. They're just not good. They can't cover. They don't blitz well. They don't play the run overly. They're not even above average against the run. And so they're a big weak spot. They're not getting depth. They only get about 7 yards deep in coverage from their initial alignment. And again, teams are just running these dig routes right behind them because our linebackers, they're aggressive playing everything in front of them, those checkdowns, those hitches, those underneath plays. And so they'll bait them to come jump on that, and they'll go right behind them with the square in. It's basic concepts that they're doing. And then you have two guys like him and the nickel jumping on the same flat routes, and you have Olave right behind them on several occasions. And so it's a tough scenario when you can't get home. You try to disguise coverages and play coverages to hopefully confuse the quarterback and then make him make a mistake. That's the philosophy. And I think there's a lack of pass rush that's going to always limit the ceiling of whatever defense we play. Obviously missing Brian Burns now big time because we're bottom what? I don't know what number we are in the league in terms of sacks. We might have moved up because of the 5 sack, but we were second worst in front of San Francisco coming into this week. But what's been able to mask a lot of our deficiencies is getting turnovers. If you can create turnovers, you're giving extra possessions to our offense. You're actually getting stops. You're not necessarily forcing punts, but you're also getting stops. It's a momentum and a confidence thing. Right? And then the reason why we're also playing a lot of ball control on offense in terms of running the ball a lot, nickel and diming, not being as explosive, is because we're trying to protect this bad defense. The more we play complimentary for them and the less they're on the field, the better. And so them giving us extra possessions like they had been when we've been beating the Rams or the Packers, it just drains the clock, less opportunity for our defense on the field. Because again, these turnovers, look at where they are. Think about it. We picked Brock Purdy off in the end zone with J.C. Horn. Another one against the Rams, we picked off in the end zone as well. The sack fumble we got against Matthew Stafford was in the red zone. We're bending. Teams are moving the ball. We're just getting stops at the opportune times and taking points directly off the board. When you get stops in the red zone, you're at least getting 3 points off the board, maybe even 7, depending on how the drive goes. So we've just been very timely on the turnovers in the instances that we've really gotten them, and they've helped us win. But at this point, we're going to have to live and die by getting turnovers. And so what went wrong is they missed opportunities getting turnovers. They did. And we're going to look at it in a second. I thought the standout player of the week was Bobby Brown. 5 tackles, 4 stops, 1 sack. He got the start in place of Turk Wharton. Turk Wharton had a hamstring injury in the walkthrough. I don't even want to get into that. That's Star Lotulelei vibes. If you know, you know. But Bobby got the start. He played it in the A gap, played in the B gap mostly too. This is the highest snap count he's had since week 2. Crazy, right? But he's looking like he's ready for more time. I'm assuming it's a matchup thing, which is why he doesn't get more consistent snaps. But Turk has been hurt a lot this year, man. They have different skill sets. Obviously, Bobby is nowhere near the pass rusher. But if he can give you anything, I mean, you got to give him a shot, it seems like. We don't have too many answers. But again, 5 tackles, 4 stops, 1 sack. Great performance by him, was much needed. Much needed, but obviously it didn't lead to a victory. But he flashed multiple times getting that first sack. I know a lot of people have feelings about Turk Wharton and the money we paid and the production we've gotten from him. He's been hurt. Now some people say they want to see Bobby more. Let Bobby play. If you want to win, put Bobby in. You know? The biggest issue on defense for me, missed opportunities. And you can see this picture here. Prime position to recover a game-changing type of fumble recovery. And we missed it. We missed it. Dog, these ones, like, the opportunities when they hit you dead in the hands, that's the ones that are going to make me blow a gasket. That's going to make me blow a gasket. Because at that point, what was that? Was that the one where, when was that in the game? That was third quarter? Yep. We had just gone up 17-7. We had double dipped. We had double dipped on these dudes. We got 3 points before the half, and then we got 7 points coming right out. They were backed up. And we had an opportunity. Phenomenal play by Mike Jack to pop that ball out. Rosebloom hit him right in the arms. Rosebloom could have just punched it forward and then crawled after it then. He tried to just immediately get it. No, I understand. But, like, when your defense is not good like us, you have to make these plays. That's game changing. We were up 17-7. We'd have been up in prime real estate at the 30 to be able to go up 3 possessions. Early in the third, of course. Early in the third, but, like, sheesh, man. It could be game changing. And that's what we're going to look at tape on. We're going to look at tape on the missed opportunities. It's a long one, but this is how we're going to wrap it up tonight. Y'all stay tuned. All right. Oh. Yeah, get LeBron Ray off my field. Give me more Bobby, but get LeBron Ray off my field. Cam Jackson got a little bit of burn with the second unit because of Bobby being with the first unit. All right. First play. This is a fist. I just got pissed all over again, guys. I agree. Forget the pump fake. Just take your shot. Let Derrick Brown worry about tipping. Take your shot at the quarterback, man. Get a rib shot. Get you a nice little rib shot on the quarterback, man. Forget the pump fake. I don't know why dudes be going for the pump fake so much. Get you a nice little rib shot. And make them feel you. Run through the body. But again, man, missed opportunities, dog. Missed opportunities. So, like, they have to get picked. They have to get turnovers. That's the only way. It's a lot of pressure, and it's not always sustainable because the ball isn't always going to bounce your way, as we saw against the Saints. They had multiple opportunities to get off the field. A lot of those plays I showed you were from that 11-minute drive. They work. There's an opportunity to bust the game completely wide open if we get those turnovers. Whether it's the Mike Jack fumble, the Rosebloom tipping the one, and losing the first down, the Mike Jack potential pass breakup. A lot of opportunities missed. And so that's our only path to victory currently by the defense. They have to get turnovers. Don't give up big plays and take advantage of the turnovers when you have the opportunity, because you had multiple, like I showed you, to get them. But all the breaks that we got that allowed the Falcons to get a win and us to be in first place, they didn't go our way this game. Weird, man. Weird game that we play. The ball is oblong, so it doesn't bounce all the way correctly. But that's kind of how the cookie crumbles, or the ball bounces, whatever. Shout out to Mr. Luke Cage on the super chat. Shit, it feels like Dave and Evero don't even call plays to win. It's like they have the game control pushing buttons, not having a clue how to fight back. Yeah, it feels like we don't have the answer to the test. And I don't think Evero does, but it just feels like Dave don't be wanting to counter a lot of times. They come in with the good game plan, good design, but like once it's time to execute, if we have to zig or zag or get off track, it gets a little bit hairy at times, making adjustments. Because when it's one thing the game plan when you're in it. I mean, when you're beforehand, leading up and practicing. But it's one thing when the rubber hits the road, they try something different. You actually see how the game plan works. You have to adjust. But it's not. It's weird. Shout out to everybody on the super chats tonight. Shout out to all the members out there. Again, this is after further review. If you want to get the full replay, make sure you become a member. Help support the channel as well. Help support your favorite creator. Nobody's giving you film breakdowns like this anywhere on the web for the Carolina Panthers, your favorite team. After further review, my favorite 2 hours of the week. We're wrapping up right at 2 hours and 5 minutes. I appreciate everybody watching tonight, man. Much love to everybody again. Love you guys. We'll be back. Everything's still in front of us against the Bucs. We got to beat the Bucs twice. Unfortunately, we're not going to get help from the Dolphins probably because Quinn Ewers is starting for the Dolphins, so we can't expect help from them. So we know what we got to do. They created this path for themselves. It starts here at home against the Bucs. You have to beat the Bucs. So let's go ahead and do it, man. Let's get to the playoffs, man. All right? Y'all love y'all. Keep pounding. Stay up. Stay blessed. We out of here, man. Y'all be good. Appreciate y'all tuning in, Trizzy. Shout out to Prince of Blacks. Shout out to Nico Rosa. Yes, we need a linebacker with physicality, and we need somebody that can cover. But all right, guys. Love y'all. See you.